We're back here on the Marching to Madness College Basketball Podcast with my good friend, Craig Smith of the Utah Utes. He's back, and I'm telling you, he's got one of the top teams in the Pac-12 right now after wins over Arizona and Washington State last week. Coach, welcome back.
Ken, thanks for having me on. It's great to see you. I love the jacket you got on. You can't go wrong with the Running Utes red. But it's great to hear your voice. It's great to see you again, and looking forward to it.
Oh, yeah, always looking forward to it. And we got to start with that Arizona game. You guys had such a solid defensive effort. You held them to 35%. Then Brandon Carlson on the offensive side led 4 Utes in double figures with his 22 points.
Well, how much time do you have, Ken? I love talking about that game.
I know.
What a great win for us. Arizona is an elite team. At that time, they were number 4 in the country, and they were just coming off the winning the Maui Invitational Championship against a loaded field. They did take about 8 days to kind of, when you're a part of that tournament, you got to kind of recover. But they won that thing. They're the defending Pac-12 champs, got to the Sweet 16 last year. Obviously, they have a different team this year, as do we. But coming into that game, when you're picked preseason number 10, a lot of times you got to play the preseason number 1 or number 2. It's just how it works. I felt really good coming into the game. And what I mean by that, I didn't know if we were going to win or lose, but we had just had a tournament in Florida where we played Georgia Tech and won, lost a really close game to Mississippi State, who is now ranked in the top 25. And you could just see our improvement. We have a lot of youth. We're playing, 3 true freshmen. We're playing, and then we have some transfers that were inexperienced guys. And then we've just been dealing with a ton of injuries, but we had finally, going into that Arizona game, it's the first time since I'd been here where we actually had some continuity and for like 10 days of practice. And continuity matters, right? Basketball is a game of rhythm and timing. And one of those guys was Marco Anthony, who had missed about a month of practice time, missed the first 3 games, and even in game 4 only played 20 minutes, didn't quite look himself. But you're right, Ken, we defended at a high level. Going into that game, Arizona was averaging 97.5 points a game. They were shooting from the field 61%, and their 3-point percentage was 42% as a team. If I said to you, Ken, an individual player was averaging that, you'd say like, wow, that's really good. Their team was averaging those numbers against good competition. And at the same time, our defensive, we were at the top of the country in a lot of defensive categories. So I was really curious how we were going to stand up against a team like this. And fortunately for us, we did a great job of kind of controlling tempo. We kept them out of transition. They were elite. I said to our guys, of course, they can't understand, but you can appreciate it. They're kind of like the Lakers of the 80s with Magic and Worthy, Kareem. And they're high octane at the center, at the guards, at the power forward, you name the spot. And then they play at such a fast tempo, but we were able to kind of neutralize them there. We were up 17 at the half. And of course, they threw some haymakers at us in the second half, which you expect from a team like that and a program like that, but we were able to withstand it. And I think at the end of the day, we held them from 4 for 28 from the 3. So we were really able to keep those guards in check, which is hard to do. Of course, we were fortunate that they missed some open shots as well. That's part of the game. And then you're right. Brandon Carlson really right out of the gate got us going. I think he had a 3 right away, got a tough layup. And that's what you expect out of your returning all Pac-12 lead, right? He was an all-league guy in the Pac-12 last year. It's his 4th year in college basketball. And he's a good player. He's a 7-footer that can shoot 3s, score inside. So what a great win for us. The first time we've beaten a top 5 ranked team since 2002. So it's been a long time, obviously, and that's saying something because University of Utah has a rich tradition of excellence in men's basketball. So that was a big win for our guys. Obviously, you gain confidence when you do something like that. And we were able to go on the road 3 days later and kind of win a rock fight in overtime against Washington State. And so we've been trending in the right direction. We got to keep this thing going.
Yeah, and it's a situation where Gabe Madsen has become your top 3-point shooter. He has 2.8 per game. You shoot 40.1% from the field, while Lazar Stefanovic is at 41.2% from three.
Yeah, I mean, Gabe's he's an elite shooter. Gabe's worked really, really hard at his game. He on a kind of a cool side story at a high school, him and his brother Mason, they're twins. I was at Utah State still. We recruited both those guys. Felt like it was probably going to be a long shot to get them to Utah State. They had all kinds of offers all over. They decided to go to Cincinnati because Cincinnati offered both of them. Anyway, Gabe opted out after 2 or 3 games. We got hired at Utah, and Gabe was the first guy that committed to us. And Gabe's always been very well known for his jump shot. He can, I mean, that thing is smooth. If you've seen him shoot it, it is smooth. Oh, yeah. He's really worked hard at his body. He's gotten a lot stronger. And so he's having a good year for us. And our team is shooting it well. You mentioned we're at 40.1%, which is 15th in the country. You know, we have a lot of guys that can step up and knock it down. We recruit to that. You know, we give our guys a lot of freedom as basketball players, and the more freedom you have, the more responsibility you have. And so we put an emphasis in the recruiting front, recruiting guys that can shoot it, pass it, and drill it. Shoot it, pass it, and dribble it, not drill it. Hopefully they're drilling shots. But and it takes all three. You know, games of basketball is a game of multiple efforts and decision making. And fortunately for us, we got a team that is able to do those things. And so, you know, Stefanovic had a heck of a game the other night. I think he had his career high. Carlson against Arizona, I believe, was 5 for 9. You know, and he's a center, so that certainly helps that way. But our guys have worked hard in the offseason. Our program has always been big on skill development. I know a lot of programs say that, but not everybody does it, even though they say they're doing it. And we're committed to that process of guys getting better. And, you know, Gabe was in his first real season last year. Lazar was a true freshman, right? Raleigh Wooster's made big jumps. So these guys have made the natural progression from freshman to sophomore to junior, et cetera, et cetera. And so that'll always be a staple of who we are.
You guys were 16 of 28 from three against a good Jacksonville State team. Talk about how you structure that three ball inside your offense. Are you looking off the transition as well as the half court, or do you prefer one over the other?
Yeah, I mean, we went 16 for 28 the other night. Those are always fun. One short of tying a school record. We were sitting on 99 points with 3 minutes to go, and we couldn't crack 100. Like,
you needed me in your lineup. If you would have had me in my jump shot. I'm just kidding. I've still got 4 years. We should have put you out there. Yeah, I've still got 4 years if you want to recruit. I'm only 56.
Well, are you academically eligible, Ken?
Oh, well, kinda.
That's my problem.
Yeah.
No, you know, we do want to play an up-tempo style where we pass it ahead and play out of transition. We did get some of those obviously in transition, but I would say we're a free-flowing kind of team where we run a lot of different actions at you. It takes time, you know, because of the freedom to develop the synergy and the camaraderie or the chemistry that you want to see on the floor. You know, that night, I think we had 25 assists. So we were really passing it and sharing it. We have a team full of guys that can do all three of those things, from our point guard all the way to our 5-man. So, you know, like I said earlier, we do give our guys a lot of freedom. And so we just got to make the right plays, you know, and we watch a lot of film, assistance with our players, and we watch a lot of film as a team. So I think sometimes as a player, you can maybe think you're doing one thing and then you see it on film and it's like, it can be eye-opening at time, right? And the film doesn't lie, just like the camera doesn't lie. And so we have a great group of assistant coaches that spend a lot of time, you know, on this thing. But, you know, it's I really like the improvements we've made specifically on the offensive end of the floor. And, We're starting to get some stability in terms of our lineups and who we're playing, and I think that all makes a big difference. But I say it all the time. We want to bring the running Utes back to the running Utes
Yeah,
basketball
I
program,
love that
and I
name.
like trending that way.
Sure, I love that name. And Raleigh Wooster is one of those guys. He's a prime competitor, but he figures across the boards in offense and defense. He gets 10.1 points, 5.8 rebounds, and 4.9 assists.
He's Raleigh's well, he's a winner. First of all, all that guy cares about is winning. He works hard for his teammates. He's there for his teammates, and he's become a much better leader on the floor. He's always been a leader by his example, but he's really using his voice now. And you talk about those numbers. He's had, I think, 2 games now. Arizona game, he was 1 assist shy of a triple double. And at the same time, he guarded one of the best guards in the country in Kirk Risa. And and he did a heck of a job. He guards the other. He always guards one of the other team's top players, if not their best perimeter player. So he's got a lot of responsibility on him. He's taking the next step. He was as a true freshman, he was with us at Utah State. Was our point guard that led us to an NCAA tournament berth. Then he transferred here when we got hired here. Last year was a big adjustment for him as a sophomore, just learning this league. And it's a good league, very athletic league. And there was a learning curve for him. And so he had to go through that whole process. He had a heck of a summer. No, he's in the gym relentlessly. He's always working out, whether it's on the basketball court or in the weight room. He's become a much better athlete. He's always been strong. I mean, he's 6'3", 205. So he's built like a middle linebacker at the point guard position. And so really proud of Raleigh. He has a great feel. The game has slowed down for him. And I think that's a common theme. When you have the minutes he's logged over the years, and now you get to be a junior, things just start to slow down. And now it's easier just to make the right play.
Coach, you have super depth, I think, with 10 Utes that are averaging double figures in minutes. Talk about the development of that depth and how you're able to keep it ready like that. I know getting Marco Anthony back was huge for you too, because he's averaging 10.4 points, 6.3 rebounds, playing in 7 games, but starting 5.
Yeah, I mean, we do have good depth. I like our depth. We have great depth and great versatility. And last year we didn't have much versatility or depth. And I think good teams have versatility. You can play big, you can play small. Depending on the kind of style you play, you can kind of match up different ways where one guy might get more minutes one night than the next. Part of all those guys playing all those minutes was early in the year. We were just dealing with some injuries. Marco Anthony missed the first 3 games and played 20 minutes game 4. Keba, who's a true freshman for us, who's really come on the scene, rolled his ankle in game 2, missed game 3, just wasn't nearly himself game 4. And now he's been much better. So Luka Tarlak missed some time. We've had some guys miss some time. That's part of the game. We don't ever complain about it or make excuses. So it's a next man up mentality. And then we've had such a competitive summer and our 30 practices before our first game. I mean, because of our depth, we were just kind of, one day, of course you have your steady eddies, like, what you're going to get. And then there's other days like, man, this guy really popped, or this guy really popped, or this guy. So you're trying to give the benefit of the doubt and play a lot of different guys. And sometimes that can be good. Sometimes that maybe isn't so good because it is hard to get a rhythm. But I like where we're at. And what's been fun too, Ken, is even since games have started, there's certain guys that are really, now we're getting some consistent practice time, and you're seeing certain guys just get better and better as it goes. And they might not even be playing right now, or they're hardly playing, but I could see some of that changing if they keep progressing the way they are. So I love the depth and I love the versatility of this team.
Yeah, you mentioned the versatility. That was my next point on my sheet here. This team's versatility to me makes it a must watch. It's like the Pac-12 in general. There's lots of versatile players across the boards, but your depth and versatility talk about your thoughts on having this many players have X number of abilities and they can all contribute.
Yeah, I mean, we do. We're able to we have eight new guys in our program total, but six that are contributing on the floor. And so we recruit to that. We try not to recruit where we're kind of cookie cutter, and we almost all of our guys bring something different to the table. But their intangibles have to be, they love to play basketball. They need to be smart, tough, and dependable, right? And it has to be all three. Got to be smart, got to be tough, got to be dependable, and guys that make winning plays. And so, with being new to the Pac-12, which I was last year was our first year, and I'd never been an assistant in the Pac-12. So you learn the league. Every league is a little different. Pac-12 is different than the Big Ten. Big Ten is different than the SEC. Pac-12 is different than the Mountain West, which is a league I just came from. And so you got to learn the league. The league is very different. It's very athletic. There's a lot of NBA players that come out of this league every year.
Sure.
But there's so many different styles of play, ranging from Oregon to Washington to UCLA to Arizona to Colorado. You can just go right down the line. There's just a lot of different styles of play. And so to be very good, you better be really talented. You better have the right mindset. And I think you got to have versatility to be able to play different styles of play while at the same time playing your style of play. And so I'm excited. It's crazy. And this might be a little bit to the state of college athletics, but we only have three guys on the roster that were here when I got hired: Brandon Carlson, Jackson Brenchley, and Eli Ballstead. The only three guys that were on this roster when I got hired. So it's kind of crazy how fast the turnover, has taken place that way. But I do think, Ken, just going through the league one time and seeing it with your own eyes firsthand, up close and personal, you learn what the league is like and different things that you have to have to survive, or at least have success at a high level in this conference.
We don't want to shortchange the win at Washington State at all. Anytime you go on the road and you pick up a win over another improving team, it says something about your guys. And again, the versatility. You were out rebounded by 9, and then Brandon didn't score, but the key thing he did, he had 10 rebounds in his 27 minutes.
Yeah, they did. They did a great job. They're a good team. They've been fighting some injury issues. Their metrics and the analytics have them high. I think that's going to end up being a quad one win at the end of the year. And you got to give them a lot of credit. We're a very good rebounding team. We're second in the country in rebounds per game. We're third in the country in defensive rebounds per game. We had a few too many turnovers that night, if I remember correctly. That hurt us. But that was tough. They're well coached. We just had such an emotional win against Arizona, and that game was a physical, rugged game. So we didn't do much. That game was on a Thursday. We played at Washington State on a Sunday. And so we didn't do much in practice on Friday. Had a very good practice Saturday. But we practiced at 8 a.m. because we had to get on our flight up to Pullman. And then a 1:00 game. And we knew it would be a rock fight. We seized momentum late in the first half to go up 8 at halftime. But then it was just back and forth. And at the end of regulation, we were down 6 with 2:45 to go. And fortunately for us, we were able to find a way to get that game into overtime and found a way to win. And Brandon, Brandon fouled out, I think, with 8 minutes to go in that game. And now all of a sudden you lose your all-league guy with 8 minutes to go. I was really proud of how much poise we played with and toughness. And we just stayed together, despite losing our all-league guy. And it's always difficult to win on the road. As you know, Ken, doesn't matter what league you're in, from the Summit League to the Big Sky to the ACC, it doesn't matter. It's very difficult to win on the road. And we had a couple of neutral court games earlier, but not a true road test. And so to be able to find a way to win that thing was big for us. And so to start out 2-0 in Pac-12 play is huge. And, of our first 4 Pac-12 games, 3 are on the road, and the home game was against the defending champs and number 4 team Arizona. So to be 2-0 obviously is the perfect way to start Pac-12 play.
Last thing, Coach, you guys are going to host the Roadrunners tomorrow night. That would be Texas San Antonio. They allow opponents to shoot just 40.3%. Wondered what your take is on the matchup with Texas San Antonio.
Yeah, they're a good team. They're well coached. They put a lot of they defend well. They make it very difficult to score in the paint.
Yeah.
They have very good size and athleticism, and then they shoot the three. And anytime they're a team that shoots 43% of their shots are from the three. They have three guys that play a ton of minutes that each shoot 6 threes a game. So anytime you're playing a team that shoots the three at the level they do, and with the quantity that they do, that's the great equalizer, right? So They put a lot of pressure on you. They run good offense. They run a lot of different sets and execute well. So be another good test for us. I know our guys are excited to get back on the floor. We haven't played since Thursday. It was really bizarre not having a game on Saturday or a Sunday over a weekend. So that was different. But it's also that time of year, Ken, finals week. Last week was the week before finals, which I always think is like the busiest week of the year. Final papers due. You got all these things that people forget that these guys still go to class and they're trying to earn a degree. And it's easy always just to talk basketball, but it's just a stressful time of year for sure at this time of year. So we got to play well. We've been a pretty good home team. We got to, our preparation has been great. Our practices have been good leading into this. So, but we got to come out, like we tell our guys every night, we got to earn victory.
Coach Craig Smith out in the great state of Utah with those Utah running Utes. And we're going to be watching that league, going to be watching your guys. I appreciate you coming on with me today.
Of course, Ken. It's always great to be on your show, and I appreciate you having me, and thanks for all you do for the game. Go Utes!
Go, oh, yeah. There you go. Go Utes.
There you go. You got it down.